And now we're going to the next panel. I would like to invite here on stage Pedro Norton de Matos, and online with us, Adam Woodhull. And we're going to talk about mobilizing citizens. Adam is a part of the Extinction Rebellion, an entrepreneur, writer, coach, consultant, speaker, and occasionally also working with stand-up comedy. For the past 12 years, Adam has worked with some of the world's largest organizations on their sustainability standards. And with us here, Pedro Norton de Matos, is interested in terms of sustainability, entrepreneurship, and soft skills, founder of Greenfest, and also has collaborated with business incubators such as Startup Factory, and taught for 5 years as chair of entrepreneurship in the Master of Management of Catholic University. He will bring how business and stakeholders are related to sustainability from the citizen to business. And we would like to start first with Adam online, which I believe is with us, and we're going to join. Okay, no, sorry. We are going to start with Pedro. And do you have your the slides, or don't?
No. Sorry, I don't have PowerPoints. In fact, I would like to introduce in another perspective myself. I'm an amateur photographer, and I'm a grandfather of 2 granddaughters. I have 2 daughters and one wife, just one wife. I'm thrilled to be here, and thanks for the organization to invite me. And in fact, we are talking about mobilizing citizens. I think it's a big challenge that we all face, is how can we mobilize, how can we somehow instill this sense of urgency to change many things that are wrong in our system, in our development model. I'm an economist, and as an economist I feel guilty because I feel ashamed, because we are really in a waste society. We waste a lot of resources. But I'm hopeful. I hope that in the future we can really change all of that since now. And for sure there are many different ways to face and to address change. I read about Adam, and I'm also very pleased to share with Adam this digital floor, because Adam, I think that Adam and I, we have a lot of things in common, and also we try really to storytelling and inspiring people, but also I have English blood in my veins. My name, Norton, many generations ago, some English people came to Portugal from Dartmouth, and so I think that I look forward to really go deeper into that relationship, and knowing what Adam is really doing in his activism, because he's really a brave activist. So I think that there are many different ways to address change, because at the end, ultimately, is a question of behavior. We are talking about changing behavior. Neuroscientists, they say that really there is a gap. All of us, it seems that there is a gap, what we think that we must do, or what we could do in a rational way, and what we really do. And that gap, I think that one of the big challenges is really to minimize the gap in order to address all the issues in an urgent way, in an urgent matter. And I think that there is no time to debate which way is the best way to pursue that challenge. I think that we should use many different ways to address it. Being activists, trying to inspire others, because at the end, behavior, we can, if we repeat behavior, it becomes an habit. And we don't. When we were born, we didn't have those habits. So it's something that we acquire, and we acquire throughout many repetitions. So we need to do it and do it again in order to become an habit. And since it become an habit, it flows. It's really very easy to do it in a natural way. So we can acquire good habits or bad habits. And I'm very much with some behavioral scientists that say that we, like Skinner, for instance, we can have and we can reinforce good habits, and we can somehow punish or penalize bad habits. So I think at the end, and I'm still a romantic, but since I'm getting older, I think it's becoming more pragmatic, and I think that we need really to address this kind of change in a different way. Unfortunately, it seems that it works if you really use it, the positive reinforcement and the negative reinforcement. In other words, if you tax bad habits and what concerns sustainability, you can have some output out of it. And if you reward behavior, you can have a good benefit out of it. So, for instance, in Singapore, and I may say the Singapore way, if you throw a chewing gum into the floor, I mean, you will be punished in a way that you will never forget. So it seems, unfortunately, that neuroscientists say that it seems that if the actions are towards your pocket, and it seems that money talks, unfortunately, it seems that if the pocket is affected, you change your behavior. So maybe we need more this old recipe of the stick and carrot. So try really to reinforce the positive behavior and to somehow punish or somehow disencourage the bad behavior and the bad habits. So I'm a strong believer in education. So I think that we need really since childhood, and when I mentioned that I have 2 granddaughters, and I'm very proud of it, and that it's a lot of responsibility. The 2 granddaughters, they have between 2 years old and 3 years old, and they are absorbing everything now, absorbing everything. So it's the good moment, and we would need to have, since childhood, really to inspire, to really to have these good habits in what concerns sustainability, in what concerns the respect for nature. Nature, it's a live lab. Nature has 4 billion or trillion, it depends on the scale that you use. 4 billion years in Portuguese we say, or we say billion, but maybe it's trillion years, and that's and it's a machine that don't waste anything. Like Lavoisier said, I mean, everything is transformed. You don't lose anything. So I think that we should be inspired also by nature, by that zero waste machine, and becoming more and more, because it's this sense of urgency. And maybe to just finish with a quote, this first intervention is the following. I like very much this quote, that I used to repeat it in a communication atmosphere, that is, tell me and I forget, show me and I will, maybe I will keep the memories of it, and involve me and I will understand. Because, and I think this is key, because involving people, if we as humans, if we are involved, or if we involve others into the actions, I mean, we absorb it, and it's part of our nature, because change is much more difficult. We are averse to change as humans. So it's much better to try to really inspire and to have good habits, repeating again behaviors positive behaviors, because at the end, the outcome will be a good habit for the planet, a good habit for the social impact that we can have. So I'm a strong believer that more and more companies and citizens need really to think in a different way, that is the triple bottom line. Again, as an economist, I was told, I learned at university, and by the way, I studied in the 20th century, based on authors from the 19th century, and now I'm living in the 21st century, and many things are outdated. I learned that trees can grow until the sky, and it's not true. I learned that the bottom line would be the financial bottom line, and it's not true. I mean, we need to see really the three pillars of sustainability: environment, social, and economical, all together, interdependent, and I think that can make us evolve in a very different models towards the future.
Thank you very much, Pedro. And I think it's a good way to bring Adam with us virtually, because you mentioned involvement, and he, through Extinction Rebellion, has involved thousands of citizens, and we are very keen to learn more about it. If he can join us now via the video, thank you. Oh, there was a technical issue they are trying to bring, but fortunately I have some questions, and I know Pedro has a lot to talk to us at this time. I saw that you also mentioned that consumers can push for change. How do you think consumers can bring companies? You mentioned also the maybe punishment, but also incentives. How do you see this happening concretely?
Yeah, well, let me say that again. It seems that the economy rules everything. There is a quote also from staff from Bill Clinton, I guess. It was Bill Clinton, someone from the staff, that said that it's the economy, stupid. It's a famous quote that really relates with that. It seems that at the end everything is related with money. Money talks, that is the economy. And so I think that we, as a species, we in nature, we now, in the last decades and after the Industrial Revolution, and recently in a speed that is incredible, we become the Homo consumericus, Homo consumericus. And so hyper-consume, I think this is one of the sins of our civilization. And at least in the Western world, we saw in previous presentations, I mean, how things and how many people are suffering in this world. How far are we from the development goals? Because this crisis and now this health crisis, it's really, the gap, it's even bigger. The challenge is even bigger for all of us to address. So the sense of urgency, and again, I think it's no time to debate which the best way. I think that we can have activism, and again, Adam, it's a very good example with the rebellion, and he's a rebel, and I admire him a lot. But I think that there are many ways: education, research and development, and of course then to have a system where, and we also with gamification and some things that work with our brains that can really encourage good behavior, good habits in what concerns sustainability, and also somehow to tax. So if the polluters, if the companies are polluting the environment, they should pay a big tax on it. And I think at the end, as consumers and hyper-consumer, we should encourage products that have, we used to say in Portuguese, in Portugal, as you know, we used to say that a cat has 7 lives. Why don't all products and services have more than 1 life? Why don't the plastic bags have the lives of a cat? So I think that there are a lot to do. We can redesign, we can rethink the way we develop this Homo consumericus mood and philosophy. that is wrong. We are in a waste society. We waste water, we waste food, we waste energy, and we waste also the people abilities. We are wasting a lot of the citizenship power. How many people are frustrated in their jobs? How many people are not active citizens trying to be a change agent? Because I strongly believe that we all are or could become a change agent. We can transform the world. Each one of us with this tiny piece can transform the world. So I think it's time really to put all the efforts together and in different ways. As I said, there is no the best recipe. There is a say also in English. This is a dangerous say that is a quote that you can have many different ways to skin a cat. Well, animal lovers don't like this expression. I don't like, I'm an animal lover. So, but they have this in English, there is many ways to skin a cat. In Portugal, we prefer to say that we have 1,000 recipes to cook bacalhau, cod fish. I think it's better. So there are many ways. I think there is no, the silver bullet, I think it's not available. I think that we should try many different ways. With some communities work better than in others. So we should try and error and really to change this kind of atmosphere that we are in. For instance, Sir David Attenborough. I don't know if you saw this last, at least I saw it on Netflix, this 93 years old, that is inspiring all of us. I think that should be mandatory in the schools. Should be, because it's a lifetime with someone that is a strong charisma, explaining what he lived in a lifetime, what he saw destroying this planet, and I think that should be mandatory. I don't know how many hours average our kids or our youngsters and our adults, we as adults, we spend with our smartphones. I have, all of you have, for sure, you have this app or this information that at the end of the week can say you spend an average of X hours a day. Why don't we spend 45 minutes to see David Attenborough film? I think it's very inspiring. So I think that we need to change, to switch our mind in order to educate, to invest in research and development. I strongly believe in that, and try many different ways. And because for some people it could be very tough to say, well, punish bad behavior. But if we reward good behavior for companies and for citizens and as a whole in the society, I think that we have much better outcome, much better results.
I would like to come back to three things that I also apply in my company, Youth Climate Leaders. First is the lifelong learning, and I totally agree with you. You present your case that what you learned was not totally true, and in the world that we live, we have to learn again and even unlearn things that we learned before. So this is very important to engage and mobilize citizens, also involve them in a way that they feel they belong and they are not just watching or being heard, but they are part of it. And the third, which I think for me is also something that we see with young people from very young age, they are aware and they don't want to waste their potential. And this is, I think there's a lot of opportunities, so we try to bring them and teach them and put them in a network where they belong. And with that, they feel that they can do something for the climate crisis. Because we just had a panel about mental issues, and a lot of young people are having what they call climate grief. So we can perhaps channel this this anger, when it's justified, into action, and we need the right tools and systems to bring that. How do you see, like, perhaps companies and citizens and youth together for this?
I think it's, again, I will stress that point, it's again the involvement. I think that we should really involve people, because when people are involved, we are part of the solution. And I think there are tools and methodologies and change management tools where you can really address that and can really involving people. There are a lot of potential in every one of us. I heard a Nobel Prize some years ago, Mohamed Yunus, saying something that strikes me, and it was very powerful. He says that there are billions of people in the world, millions of people that don't have access to education. They don't have access to water, they don't have access to food, they don't have access to education. And he raised the question, out of those million people, how many Nobel Prizes are we losing, wasting? How many brilliant ideas could come out of those human minds? So I think that there are a lot of things really to change. I mean, we cannot be happy with the way that we are creating such an unbalanced world. And I will tell you, I think that waste is not waste until we waste it. So I think that we should change our mindset since day one. And again, my granddaughters, I mean, I'm really in love with being a grandfather. And fortunately, I mean, I'm a lucky, privileged person. I live in the countryside, a lot of biodiversity, and my grandchildren, frequently, they have access also to this contact with nature. And I think that, yes, we will have these smart cities, mega cities, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, all that stuff. But if we turn our back to the nature, we pay a price. We are already paying a big price. All those pandemics, if we look back in the last 20 years, all the health problems that we faced, I mean, with the pigs, with the chicken, with the bats, with the pangolin, whatever, it's because we are really, these days, we are with this, our crazy way of organizing our lives. And again, this is the Western world. This is Western world, unfortunately. The other half of the world is not that like that. Well, I would like to finish with hope. And there are a lot of hope spots. And organizing the Greenfest, I see a lot of fantastic initiatives. And also here in Planetiers, and I wish the best luck for this venture, the Planetiers. I mean, why we are here? I mean, because we are concerned, we are worried, and we can be part. Each one of us is a change agent, and we can transform the world.
Well, thank you very much for this message, and we are going to continue on this spirit for the next panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.